Welcome to Wild Rose Haven, where we're doing it ourselves.
I'm Mr. Rose, and today we'll be reviewing a knob jig for cabinets. So anyway, today we got it's the Kreg Cabinet Hardware Jig, and this is it. It actually comes not with the pieces. You actually have to do something, put 3 screws in or whatever to put it together. It's really not tricky, and it's very self-explanatory. And the way it works is it has the adjustable edge, is so you can center the jig on your drawer depending on the width of the drawer. You measure your drawer or height and figure out the middle, and then there's a scale on here that you adjust this to do that, so that when you set it, this is why we need knobs, it will be in the middle of the height. So the other thing it comes with is this is where you will drill through. It actually comes with 2 of them. I'm doing knobs, so I just need 1, and that one goes in the middle there. If you're doing handles, you have to set it in here, and you can adjust it to whatever the width of the handle you bought is for your drilling purposes. So one thing you do need to have that this doesn't come with is the Kreg clamp. So the clamp is sold separately, and one other thing you will need is a drill bit, which they actually say on the package is not included, and that is a 4.5 mil or a 5/16, 3/16 drill bit, which, you know, most people have a set of drills lying around, so if you don't, get a set and then you'll have it. One other thing you do need to know, we've just been going through painting all these up, revamping, trying to just spruce up the kitchen a bit. You will need to make a center mark on your door or cabinet or drawer, whatever, and because we've freshly painted these, I do not want to put a pencil mark on the paint, because it may not want to come off. So I suggest for that, just grab some masking tape and just put yourself a piece of masking tape about there at the top, because when you set your jig, it has a 0 center line thing. You can see it's going to be up here somewhere, so I can mark that, then I know I'm centered this way, and then it's good to go and drill. Now, you don't have to have the clamp, but if you're going to hold it, one thing you need to make sure you don't do is have your hand round the back, drill through, and then you've got a hole in your finger. So it's kind of important that you keep your hands out the way for this one if you're just going to hold it. If you just got 1 or 2 to do, you can do it like that. I have a few to do, so I'm going to be using the clamp. It's just easier. Put it on there, clamp it on, blah blah blah, and off you go. And we shall see how that happens. I've got a few drawers to mask, center, get my marks on there, and then we'll try the jig out. All right. Okay. So just real quick, when you're measuring your center, obviously, you know, you measure it. Mine is 15 3/4, so that's going to put me at 7 7/8 to my center. But just to check, in case your math's wrong, mark your 7. I'm going to mark my 7 7/8. Okay, and then come back the other way and make sure that it is 7 7/8. That way, just to be sure you actually have center, because it's very easy to get off. It happens to everybody one time or another. So just a quick simple check, make sure you stay accurate. All right, now I'm going to mark up and get ready to drill. All right, so I've got some centers thing. It's easier if you just look above. You can see the 0 right here, see the center line right there. Clamp, just clamp it on, and then I've actually moved a bit. So right there, and then we're ready to drill. before we actually drill the hole, there is another thing you may want to consider. As you go through, when you come out the back of the drawer, it'll have a tendency to just blow it out a little bit. If you need it to be super clean, then put a little piece of scrap wood where your hole's going to be, so you can drill through into that scrap wood, and that'll stop it blowing out the back. I'm going to try. This is a pretty brand new drill bit, so I'm going to see how it does as far as blowout goes, and that'll just give me an idea if I need to put some backing on there or not. Okay. Alright, very little blowout out the back. The screw head will cover it. It didn't splinter it out or anything like that, so I guess we are good to go. So let me gather a knob and we'll see how it's going to look when it's all done. Alright, so having drilled the hole previously thusly and got the knobs and screws out, I realised that because of the way these particular cabinets were built, which was, I guess, in place or custom or whatever, the screws aren't long enough, so I will have to go and purchase some longer screws. So moving on from needing to buy screws, we moved on to the doors, which are regular thickness and the screws should work. Now the jig, you know, works the same way, but it's sideways, and we got a decorative faceplate we're using, so instead of centering it here and here, I actually have to move the center line up to allow for the decorative applique. So I have my line right here, and I want to get it centered in this and that, so in this space. So having measured across, I've set the jig, and the nice thing is you can check your set because it has center points here and here as well. So if you need to, you can make a mark on there and check that you're actually in the center of where you want to be. So that's how it is for these particular cabinets. So I'm not going to use the clamp this time, I'm going to try it without it, just for grins. So I'm going to hold it in place and taking care not to drill through my fat fingers. And there we have the center hole. So now just get a knob and a screw and an applique. Throw it on there. You're going to love these. These are picked by the missus for super blingage because we needed to bedazzle our kitchen up a bit, and it's going to be super fantastic. Shabam. Kreg jig tested, knob tested and fitted, and looks fantastic. We have a bling kitchen happening. Anyway, so there you go. I'll catch up with you later when I've actually got all things done, and when I bought some longer screws and whatnot, we'll get all the knobs put in, and then you can have a picture of the whole thing.
Y'all come back to Wild Rose Haven where we're doing it